We are here at CloudFest USA 2025. I am with Tim Timrawi, the CEO of Sharktech. Tim, thanks so much for taking the time to chat.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Yeah, well, why don't we start with what problem is Sharktech solving?
So the problem that we are trying to solve is providing a cost-effective cloud solution to the community, to the internet, to provide them an alternative to the big cloud and actually provide them the open stack and open source level of a cloud solution that does not put them in a proprietary lock in the cloud.
Gotcha. So how similar is Sharktech to, let's say, AWS and Azure versus maybe DigitalOcean, Linode? Like, where on that spectrum does it fall?
So we're definitely not providing an AWS or Google, but what we're providing is we decided to try to simplify the gap between, a VPS solution, the simple VPS, where we are providing the customer a virtual data center environment. We looked at what AWS and Azure and Google and all the top providers are providing and looked at how we can simplify the approach to give the customer a more control over their resources and easier management platform and that's when we actually partnered up with OpenStack and saw how we can provide a solution on that front. When it comes to, for example, for DigitalOcean or Linode, we took a different approach. So we're not looking at each VPS or VM as an independent billing entity, but as the whole compute resources that you're using as the actual billing item. So we're not looking at, okay, you have a VM that is 4 CPU cores, 8 gigabytes of RAM. We're going to be built for that, whether it is on hourly or monthly. We're looking at all of your compute resources and all of your RAM and all storage of that.
Do you want to maybe go in depth a bit more with OpenStack? You mentioned that maybe for anyone who's not familiar with it.
Absolutely. So OpenStack is a cloud for virtualization orchestration system that has been developed based on open source systems. It's actually now part of the Linux Foundation. It is based on multiple different modules and systems that are integrated together to create a single platform for cloud orchestration that is open source, that is not proprietary, so it does not, and it integrates well with other systems. So for example, it integrates directly with Kubernetes. We're able to provide object storage as well as a service through this single platform.
And does OpenStack allow someone to migrate hosting providers easily as well?
Absolutely. And that is one of the main points, that not only did we want to give an easy option for customers to migrate from a big tech to our systems, which already allows easy migration platform, but also if customer actually decided to choose to move out of Sharktech, we are not making it difficult for them. So for example, if you look at the bandwidth prices for AWS, for outgoing, the prices are astronomical. So they do not make sense. As someone that has been in the network engineering and side of things, it's just looking at the numbers, it's wild. So from our side of things, no, you should be able to integrate, you should be able to create a multi-cloud environment for your company.
And you mentioned the unique billing structure that Sharktech is choosing. Do you find that saving customers money over the way that other providers do it?
I believe that was the intent. If that's the case, I hope it is the case. So we tried to look at several big problems that we're seeing right now. One of them is bill creeping. So basically, you have the situation where a customer is going through AWS, building up an environment. For example, they got compromised. For example, they misconfigured their Kubernetes cluster, and it's ramping up to extreme, and then they come up with an insane bill at the end of the month. They are unaware of the situation, and then, oh my goodness, what a disaster that is. That comes from two main reasons. One, the financial aspect of the company is finding it very hard to track the resource usage and the billing structure of this. Two, there is no ceiling. So what we did is we created packages with a base commit of resources and a maximum ceiling. So that allowed you to create a project, a virtual data center environment with us that has a maximum ceiling, right? So this way, if you have a system that you're testing out and you do not want to end up in that situation, you know exactly as high as it goes. Then the other part is we separated the billing from the technical side of things. So you have a platform for our billing that the CFO of your company or anyone that's actually managing the finances of the company can see on hourly basis how much resources you are actually using on your environment. And then you have that cloud technical platform that allows you to build up your environment and actually do the technical part. That helped on two different things. One, security-wise, it allowed the technical engineers to have a full-on separate system than the financial systems management, which security-wise, that has been extremely helpful.
Is Sharktech running its own infrastructure?
Yes, absolutely. So we run our own infrastructure in 5 data centers right now, and we're hoping to expand soon in Los Angeles with Crown Castle and One Wilshire, and CoreSite. In Las Vegas with Flexential, we have basically cages in all these locations. Denver at H5 data centers. Chicago, right now at CoreSite and another provider, and Amsterdam at Equinix.
What's been your biggest lesson over the years in the hosting industry?
There are a lot there, but the main one is our industry requires stability. We need to be able to provide a stable cloud solution. So when it comes to, don't be afraid of doing the research and development to actually build up a new system, but the collaboration is important right now, especially more than ever. And I think those are two main points that I think helped me a lot in the last 20 years.
And what is one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur who's just starting out in the industry?
Look at competing against other small hosting providers. You're looking at 10% of the market. The biggest problem that we have, especially in the country, and honestly, the internet ecosystem as a whole, is the big cloud providers. They are extreme. From my perspective, it's very concerning to the internet ecosystem as a whole, what is happening there. So look at ways to be able to compete against those. I know that sounds crazy, but it's actually possible. Solutions are becoming more available. Do not try to build everything yourself. Try to collaborate with software vendors, try to collaborate with hardware vendors, and focus on integration is a lot more complex than actually building the system.
Yeah. Can you dive into that a bit more about the consolidation happening in the industry? That's something that I find very concerning. And even the giant AWS outage that we all just experienced, it's scary. It feels like the entire internet went out. What do you see there? And obviously, you're optimistic that we can really compete. Do you think consolidation is inevitable and it's just going to be these big companies, or there's truly room?
So initially, you told me to keep it short and simple.
I know we're expanding
and
here.
This one is going to be, because this one is deep in me, and that's one of the motivations that I have running the business that we're running. Yeah. Is look, we've been in this business since 2003, and I've been in the internet infrastructure since early 90s. The internet is designed to be a distributed network. Everything about it is designed around that. And because of that, a lot of industries were created. The infrastructure, the IP transit businesses, the data center businesses, the hardware manufacturing businesses, all of those are built around that ecosystem that is distributed, that is not centralized. When we get to the centralized position, then we are reaching the point where all content is on these big three clouds. All hardware vendors are dependent on these big three clouds to buy their hardware. IP transit providers are going to get stuck in that, where all the traffic is going to them. So why, as an eyeball network, as an ISP, for example, are you using IP transit since 90% of your traffic going to those content providers? So the impact of this is far more expansive than actually just us as a hosting providers. So the impact of this is very dangerous, in my opinion, and impacts innovation as a whole. I mean, if you're a hardware vendor, you're building up the next new storage type, for example, NVMe storage, which really uprooted our storage industry. You're only going to be depending on these big clouds to actually accept that new protocol for storage. And these big clouds, it's such a massive, expansive stack that it's going to be very expensive for them to come in and replace their entire storage infrastructure with this. So that will cause limitation and innovation on tech, on every kind of tech.
Yeah, I really can see your passion, and it's something I'm interested in as well. And something I'm curious about is, I don't know exactly how to word this, but how do you prevent your business from being acquired? Or maybe that's not something you're worried about, but I think, okay, in the end, many hosts, they seem like they're just firm on being independent, and then it always ends in an acquisition. Obviously, you can say, I'm never going to let that happen, but do you ever think about when your company outlasts you? Like, is there something you can do in the ethos and the culture of your business to make sure that it stays independent?
I'm not going to worry about when I die, because I really, like, I have enough things to worry about.
That's fair.
From the perspective of, being acquired, we've been seeing hosting providers getting bought out and acquired and merged and all of this all over. If you have been in this industry, you have seen that happening a lot. There's a reason why Sharktech has been bootstrapped since 2003, because I've been in the industry. I've been a CTO. I've been IT manager. I've seen what happens when the company practically sells its... I am not saying that everybody is that way. I hope nobody gets offended by this. But it takes something from you when you do these kind of things. You are less able to be innovative. You are less able to be in control of the situation. Sure, it will help you expand a lot more. And doing it absolutely right will be great for you. But I don't see the risk. I enjoy being a small business. We have no problem being, not the biggest fish in the sea, if you will. And we're happy as a company, as a culture for the company internally. We're happy. We're excited with what we can provide to our customers. We're proud of what we provide. And, from my perspective, I'm not looking to buy a super yacht or create a new space rocket or whatever. So I'm fine.
Amazing. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. And be sure to check out CloudFest USA next year. It's going to be amazing. Don't know when or where yet, but, check the description for dates and updates on that. And check out Sharktech.
Yes.